SIDDHI stands for Self-Reliant India, Discussions and Dialogues for Humane Innovations. This is the Gandhi Jayanti Health and Environment Week webinar series. And SIDDHI was actually started to commemorate Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary. So today's topic will be sustainable water and waste management in villages. And SIDDHI is an effort to actually bring together various social relevant technologies and get academia, industry experts, policymakers, government officials, NGOs, social entrepreneurs, think tanks, and general public together to discuss the problems that can be solved through consensus. And today's speakers are two extremely distinguished speakers of IIT Madras, but they're also experts in environment and water management. And Professor Liji Philip is actually the institute chair and also Dean Planning, IIT Madras. She's part of the Environment and Water Resources Engineering Group. And her specialization is water treatment and rural water supply. A lot of projects she has worked with the Indian government as well as Tamil Nadu government. She has been part of the Center for Sustainable Indo-German Science and Technology Center, IIT Madras. And she has worked with Pollution Control Board, Tamil Nadu. Then the next speaker is actually Professor B.S. Murthy, who is also an institute chair professor. And he's part of the Environment and Water Resource Engineering Group. He is an expert in water management and open channel flows and free surface flows. And he also works in water resources management in coastal and deltaic systems. And he has done a lot of projects as well. So actually there are too numerous to actually mention the projects done by Professor Liji Philip and Professor Murthy. So I hand over the mic to Professor Raghunathan Rangaswamy, who is the Dean of Global Engagement, IIT Madras, to say a few about the speakers and also the SIDDHI webinar series. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sudarshan. My name is Raghunathan. I'm the Dean of Global Engagement. Our office coordinates this webinar series. The reason why the Global Engagement Office coordinates this webinar series is because originally we had part of the plan was to get Spark projects that run at IIT Madras with the foreign collaborators to be showcased here and also give a context in terms of social relevance for these projects. While we do that, there are also several other seminars and webinars that we have conducted here, which really look at technology and other aspects of social issues. And slowly we are moving this towards a forum for dialogue where we can present some of these and then slowly move on to actual actions based on whatever is discussed here. So SIDDHI has a long way to go, but I think we have made a very good start with excellent webinars on multiple topics. And today, of course, it's a very important topic in terms of wastewater management in villages. And we all know how big a problem this is. And we have two of the biggest experts in India to talk about this problem from IIT Madras. As Sudarshan mentioned, both of them are institute chair professors, very accomplished in their own rights. So we are really looking forward to listening to them and learning from them. Over to you, Liji.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, please.
Welcome everybody to this talk. Okay, Bob, Professor B.S. Murthy and I will be talking on sustainable water and waste management in villages. I am very thankful to Professor Sudarshan and Professor Jehu for giving and other organizers for giving us this opportunity. Okay, and we are just going to talk about what we have done in few villages. Okay, hope this will be helpful for all of you. So we all know that about 65% of Indian population live in rural areas, and many government initiatives have improved water supply, hygiene and sanitation levels of villages in India. And we all are aware about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, how it improved the living standards of villages. Almost 100%, okay, open defecation free villages are there in India now. Okay, we all can be proud of that one. And another government initiative is Jal Jeevan Mission. The vision of this mission is every rural household shall have assured drinking water supply in adequate quantity and of prescribed quality on regular and long-term basis at affordable service delivery. So they are going to take care of quality, quantity, and affordability and reliability. All the important aspects of water supply is going to be taken care, and they will be assuring the quality and operation and maintenance, etc. But if you see the present scenario of water supply, around 5.35 crore rural families have tap connections. And when we talk about tap connections, constant vigil is needed to ensure assured water supply. Okay, so if you see in India, 100% functional household tap connection existing 46,000 plus villages out of 6 lakh villages. We have long way to go. And what are the challenges? In spite of pipe water supply present in villages, no water supply in many homes. Many times the water is supplied in taps in the roads. Okay, you can see here many ladies are waiting for collecting the water and all. And most of the time they go for asset creation approach, absence of service delivery approach. And another one is water quality issues. In as many as 50,000 habitations have the water quality issues, and many places adequate quantity of water is not supplied. Less than 55 liters per capita per day is available in many places. And another major problem is lack of skilled personnel to take care of the operation and maintenance of the infrastructure created. And when we talk about the sanitation, though toilets are available for most of the households because of the government initiatives, many are not using them due to various reasons. One such reason is lack of water availability. We know that water is not there, the toilets cannot be used properly. Then another thing is need of behavioral changes, because people are used open defecation, so all of a sudden changing is very, very difficult. So many times what is happening, the toilets are used for many other purposes. You can see that, okay, this one, okay, one of the pictures we have taken from the field visit. During the field visit, okay, they are using it as storage rooms and all. And many places structural and construction problems are there, so many toilets are not in usable conditions. And another important thing is water supply, waste management and sanitation need to be planned together for a healthy village. And as on today, many villages lack solid and liquid waste management systems or facilities. But with government initiative of ODF Plus, okay, they are targeting proper sanitation facilities and waste management, including solid and liquid waste in villages. So when we talk about sustainable water management, okay, for achieving this one, waste management is very much essential. Okay, just talking about water management is not going to work at all, because if you are not managing the solid waste blocks the canals, fill the water bodies. So as a result, the quality of the water and quantity of storage decreases. You can see that, okay, the type of village ponds. Any village you go, most of the ponds are of this condition. Okay, you can see a lot of stagnated, dirty water and eutrophication and all other problems. And when we come to the liquid waste, okay, it contains a lot of nutrients, organic load, pathogens. And when the wastewater stagnation, okay, which is a common scene when you go to the villages like this, okay, all the grey water is getting accumulated here and there. It causes mosquito breeding and other insect vectors. And not only that one, it will be contaminating the water sources and also affecting the rainwater harvesting, because the rainwater, okay, though it is very clean, pure, when it gets mixed with the liquid waste, the quality get affected. Then naturally, when it goes and gets stored, the quality of the water will not be of usable condition. To improve hygiene and sanitation, okay, yes, we need toilets. Okay, availability of water is very important. Good quality construction, proper handling of waste. Okay, this is some of the toilets, okay, we have seen in during our field visit. You can see that the waste is directly discharging into the open drains. Okay, and we may have to take care of the local needs, okay, because everybody will be having their own custom systems and all. So when we construct the things, we may have to take care of the local needs also. Then when we talk about the waste management technology, we have to go for site-specific technology. Okay, if you won't manage the waste and if you concentrate only on the superstructure, groundwater contamination will be happening because all the waste will be going there. Then water is poured, okay, to along with that one. So it will be penetrating and contaminating your surface and subsurface water. And due to that one, large price to be paid in the future to remediate the contaminated aquifer. And these toilets are considered as non-point source. That means it is spread all around. So your pollution also will be spreading everywhere. So now coming to our experience in sustainable water and waste management in villages, as I told, it is not a rocket science. Okay, whatever we could do, okay, so we just tried to do it. Okay, we didn't have any sociology, psychology experience or anything. So what we and Professor Murthy and I, along with our students and project staff, what we have done, that's what I am going to explain. So we have interviewed in 5 villages, 5 panchayats, more than 12 villages. And we are very happy that we could do this one because of CSR funding from various industries. They were very, very generous in giving the funding. A few to mention are Indian Additives Limited, CPCL, Technip, AM Foundation, and others. So what we have done, so first I will talk about our experience in Bichur Panchayat. Okay, this is supported by IIL through their CSR funding. Okay, we first implemented integrated municipal solid waste management by collection, segregation, transportation, reduce and reuse of waste. Segregation not done by us, the villagers did it. We made, okay, we encouraged them, we taught them, and we created awareness in them, and we could achieve almost 100% household segregation and demonstrated resource recovery from organic waste through composting and from inorganic waste through reuse and recycling. And another thing we have done is involve local manpower and train them for operation and maintenance so that the ownership is coming in the village. That is what another thing we have done. And implemented sustainable option for management of storm and wastewater from the villages. I will discuss this one a little bit in detail. So phase 1 of the project, because we didn't want to take the entire panchayat together, so we started with a small village. Okay, Bichur Panchayat, it's a developing residential area in North Chennai, and one side of this panchayat is Chennai Corporation. So it is just outskirts of Chennai Corporation. Selection based on social survey, discussion with panchayat officials and local population, because we need the help from the officials. Anyway, Professor Murthy will be discussing about this one in detail. And first we have selected Edil Nagar with a population of, number of household benefited is 250. And phase 1 we started in July 2015. And as the first step, we have to enter into the village. Unless we enter into the village and build a rapport with them, nothing is going to work. So initially what we have done lot of awareness program, going and meeting each and every household, okay, individually and talking to them and all. We have done all those things. Then this was our approach. Okay, so for solid waste, source level waste segregation, so the people were ready to segregate it into 3 categories, and we can tell that we were successful because of the constant, okay, talking involvement with the village. So organic waste and inorganic waste, sanitary and biomedical waste. Even households have sanitary and biomedical waste. So we have segregated into 3 categories. Organic waste we went for composting. Inorganic waste segregated and salt, and sanitary waste we had the small incinerator to take care of this one. And stormwater management we have done. Okay, we provide stormwater drain and recharge or diversion to a pond in the village. Okay, I'll come to this one. And wastewater management. Okay, so we use septic tank or septic tank plus constructed wetland, and whatever the treated water we use for gardening and agriculture use. I'll show you the things little detail. So first what we have done is, I told you after the awareness creation, before the solid waste management, we thought that unless the village is clean, okay, no solid waste management is going to be successful, because people will always have a tendency to dirty the surrounding. So first thing what we have done is involved all the panchayat people, including the panchayat president, panchayat secretary, BDO, everybody were there. So we all involved and we clean complete panchayat. Okay, you can see the thing. And another thing we have done is the village had a pond. It was in a very bad condition, completely silted and covered with all the weeds. So we cleaned the pond. So these are the two things we have done so that people will get a feeling that yes, our surroundings are clean. Then we went around for the baseline survey to get an idea about what is the living standards, what they are practicing and all the things. So after doing the baseline survey and collecting the data, we went for again creating, conducting awareness program. What is the need of water management, waste management, how is it related to health, well-being of the community, etc. We have conducted many awareness programs. Then once the awareness programs, everything is over, we have distributed the bins with the pamphlets. Okay, so this is the panchayat president and this is the BDO of that area. Everybody was giving us complete support. So we explained to them how to segregate and all the things. So solid waste management was going on. Then the village was having perennial flooding problem and they didn't have any drainage system. So we constructed the drainage facility in the village. So that will be taking care of the rainwater. So what are we going to do with the grey water and the wastewater coming out of the septic tank? So what we did is in the drainage itself, or in the drain itself, we put another PVC pipeline. We call it a small bore system. So this is you can see that the collection chambers, etc. So what are the waste generated? The waste from the kitchen, from the bathroom, or the septic tank effluent from each and every house. So they have the separate collection systems and it is coming to the collection chamber built in front of each house. So through this collection chamber, it is getting into the small bore system, this pipeline. So then the solid waste, I told you we had a compost yard, windrow chambers for composting. So we have developed improved composting in our lab. Our PhD students were working on that one. So we use that technology to have efficient composting and segregation of the inorganic waste and incineration for biomedical waste. And the rainwater has gone to the clean pond, so that the harvesting is done properly, because we didn't want to have individual rainwater harvesting system for the houses because the space availability was a major problem. So we harvested all the rainwater in the clean pond. And why I'm telling is it is clean rainwater because we segregated the grey water from the rainwater, so the quality of the rainwater collected was very good. And whatever the grey water collected, we brought it to a place here near the compost yard, and we used initially constructed wetland because only 250 houses were there, so the quantity of grey water or the wastewater coming from the village was less. So we used only constructed wetland for the treatment of grey water. So, and the treated water we use for some amount for composting, then gardening and agriculture. And organic waste composting, all the waste collection, segregation, composting, everything was done by our employees in the village. All of them belong to that village. They were very sincere and they are still working. So they know how to do proper composting, temperature control, etc. So the compost, whatever they are generating, it is meeting all the international standards. So finally what they are doing is the compost, they are sieving and packing in small packets of 1 kg, 2 kg and taking to the market and selling. So we are getting 25 rupees per kg if you are selling us 1 kg, 2 kg packet, and if you are selling us bulk, we are getting 10 to 15 rupees per kg, because if you are selling 1 ton type of thing, then the cost is slightly reduced. So that is what we are doing. So what are the highlights? Successfully implemented the waste management plan, achieved cleaner environment throughout the village, vulnerability to diseases reduced, residents from these localities were trained to manage their waste. And you see, when we entered, this was the condition of the village. Now, if you go to the village, you can see at any time, this is the condition. You cannot even see a piece of paper or plastic anywhere. The village is kept clean and many people are coming to visit this village to see how they are managing the waste. Now, following the successful planning and implementation, okay, we have taken up phase 2 because our funder was very happy. So they told that you can go ahead with the phase 2. So we have taken another 580 houses, include 8 villages I have given. So we went ahead with the same procedure, okay, awareness creation, okay, getting into the villages, okay, creating awareness, etc. And you can see that here also improper waste disposal was not there, and majority of the households were not segregating the waste, dumping the waste along the roadsides, lack of awareness. So this was the condition when we went there. Okay, there was no difference. Then here also we did the mass cleaning. So before cleaning, you can see how the village was, and after that cleaning, all the villages. Okay, so we wanted this condition to exist. That's why we did the cleaning. Then, okay, we have created awareness program, bin distribution. So by this time, the word spread and many people were coming to cover how the coverage of the work we are doing and all the things. So now coming to wastewater management. Okay, I told you in the phase 1 only 250 houses were there, so there was no problem. Okay, the constructed wetland was able to manage the waste, but as the waste increase, as the household increases, okay, so this constructed wetland was not able to manage, take care of all the waste, and we had land problem. So what we have done is we added one modified septic tank, okay, before the constructed wetland. So this modified septic tank is able to take care of 50 to 60% of the organic load. So remaining load was taken care by the existing constructed wetland, and we are getting good quality water. You can see that, okay, raw wastewater, septic tank effluent, settling tank outlet, and you see the quality of, okay, constructed wetland outlet. It is very good. Okay, COD is around 35, total nitrogen around 5, okay, meeting almost all the discharge standards. Okay, and okay, when we talk about waste management, many people think that the revenue generated is sufficient for sustainability of the composting. Okay, we look for a complete the revenue generation, and we could see that only 1/3 of the cost can be met by the inorganics and compost selling. So remaining we have to get, okay, fees from the residents. So we talked to the residents, and it was very nice to see that more than 90% of the residents were ready to pay around 100 rupees per month to continue the waste management. So okay, we are still in talk with the officials how to collect it, because as IIT we don't want to collect the money, the panchayat has to collect the money, so that is going on. So that is about Vichur. Now I am coming to Nagapattinam. So this is a major project. It is not only water and waste management, it is overall development of the, okay, villages. So this was funded by CPCL. So through their corporate social responsibility. So we have taken 4 villages, P. Panangudi, M. Panangudi, Goparajapuram, and Vallapakam. I'll show you the village map here. It is all Nagapattinam, okay, district, and it is very close to CPCL plant. So the overall development of the village means the activities undertaken is huge. We have looked into water supply and drinking water distribution, regeneration and rehabilitation of water bodies, solid waste management, wastewater management and rainwater harvesting, community hall, infrastructure for school improvement, awareness on health, hygiene and environment, pedagogy improvement, solar power for household lanterns and solar street lights, and skill development center for youth. So as an academic institute, we were not able to undertake all these activities. So we thought that it is a group that will be better. So we have taken the help of CUBE, United Way and CSIE from IIT Madras. As a team, we implemented all these projects. I will quickly show how we have done. So the project inauguration with all the government officials, etc., was conducted in 2018. Okay, because I told you any of these projects, government support is very, very essential. Without that one, we will not be able to implement anything. Okay, so then, okay, here the many houses, when we have done the baseline survey, we could see that many houses were not having the toilets, or if they had the toilets, they were not functioning. Either water was not there, all the construction was not proper, etc. So, okay, what we have done is we planned a toilet like this around, okay, with a water closet that normal size of 1.1 meter divided, okay, by 1.4 meter. Okay, so once we started constructing this one, the ladies of the village came and told us that they have severe problem, okay, because they don't have any privacy for bathing. So can you please improve the toilet, okay, as a toilet come bathroom. So we thought that yes, that is a very valid, okay, request. So we modified our plan and, okay, we went ahead with constructing bathroom cum toilet complexes. And, okay, this is the toilet and this is the bath area. And what are the waste coming from the, okay, this one we have a properly constructed, okay, septic tank as per the CPHEO test. And what are the waste coming from the septic tank? We use either constructed wetland or drainage field to treat the septic tank effluent. So, and we conduct, we have constructed around 430 toilets. And some houses, when we were constructing this type of a toilet, though they had already existing toilets, they demanded, so some houses, okay, we have to construct an additional toilet. So another thing we have done is regeneration of village ponds. Around 21 numbers we have undertaken. So this was the condition of most of the village ponds, okay, too much of, okay, growth and silt accumulation, sludge accumulation, etc. So we desilted all the things and we have provided bathing huts, cattle ramp, recharge shaft, slope bunds, okay, bund strengthening, and, okay, precast, okay, this one pitching, everything we have provided, okay, and around 21 numbers of the ponds were regenerated. Okay, you can see the regenerated pond condition. Then another one, okay, this is very important. We wanted to give a sustainable solution for drinking water. When we went into the villages, we could see that many agencies have come and provided some drinking water units. Okay, some was RO plants, somebody has provided some other treatment systems and all. So what was happening, once the agency left the village, these systems were not functioning. The reason is two. Okay, one is enough skills were not available with the villagers to, okay, maintain that one. Second one, the money involved. So none of those things were working. So we thought that we have to provide a sustainable solution. That means less intervention by the human beings and less operation and maintenance. So what we thought is, if we can find out a water source which is, okay, good quality and sufficient quantity, which doesn't need any extra treatment, that will be the best sustainable solution for drinking water. So we have done extensive hydrogeological survey, and luckily we could find out an aquifer which is around, okay, 300 meter deep, okay, and which had a very good yield. You can see that around 25,000 plus liters per hour. So we identified this aquifer and we made the well. So the quality is very good. Okay, for drinking purpose, we have to do a little bit of disinfection. Nothing else is needed. So that is what we have done. And when we entered into the village, everybody told that they have an existing water supply system. There is no need of water supply. But once we constructed the toilets, and when we have checked for the water availability, we could see that the existing, okay, water distribution system, 60% is non-functional because the pipes were broken and all. So we have to relay the water distribution system and, okay, repair some of the overhead tanks, etc. Then, okay, we also improved the infrastructure facilities of Anganwadis, etc. All this infrastructural work was carried out by CUBE. It is a society registered with IIT Madras. Okay, and solid waste management, the same, okay, approach whatever we have done in Vichur, we adopted here. Okay, compost yard, segregation, and, okay, everything. And, okay, we did lot of work on pedagogy also. You can see that, okay, all the school, Anganwadi schools, etc. Many initiatives was carried out, and this work was carried out by United Way as the part of the team. And another important thing we have done is, because these villages were not having any street light or anything, so safety was a concern. So we have provided, okay, street lights using solar energy, as well as each household got a solar lantern, because they were telling that around 10 hours of power cut is there. So many times the students were not able to, study. So we have provided in all the houses these solar lanterns. Then another important thing we have done is, because a lot of youth are there who doesn't have any job. So the skill development of the youth is very, very important. So we have created a skill development center. Okay, this activity was taken care by CSIE IIT Madras. Okay, mostly we have embedded skills on tailoring and IT, and some people were trained on O&M of the infrastructure, whatever we have created. And the graduation ceremony was conducted on 9/1/2020. And we also conducted an entrepreneur workshop on one day entrepreneurial workshop. Okay, so this is all the activities we have done. Now I hand over the mic to Professor B.S. Moti.
Hello, good evening, and thank you all for giving us this opportunity. I will continue with this. It hasn't been an easy task, so I would discuss about the challenges that we faced and then how we got over these challenges and what we have learned. First of all, whenever we go into a village and then we want to do something, we need to know what they want. And we do a social survey, we have a sociologist, and we do all the baseline survey regarding their needs, but then internal differences within community regarding priorities exist. And so we don't get clear answers. Some say they want personal toilets, some say they want a solid waste management. In fact, in one village, they said, we want parks, we don't want any of those things, although our surveys showed that they needed community toilets. Then the next challenge is, we won't get cooperation from political leadership all the time. In this village where we started, and then people have agreed for solid waste management and all those things, we looked at the village, that's what we thought they needed, and then we went and then bought the equipment, we cleaned the village, we had the inauguration, and then the local politicians, they just came in and said, no, we need to exit. In fact, the situation was pretty bad, so we exited from that village, although we had invested. Then we went to, because we had the money from the funding agency, and so we went to another village, and then again we did the work. But then we get the problem with frequent changes in the government officials. Here we went to the village, we talked to the villagers, we did the social survey, we did the topographical survey, we knew what we wanted to do. We had fantastic cooperation from the panchayat officials. They actually gave us the land also to put the the solid waste management compost yard. But then there were frequent changes in the people who are actually giving us the sanctioning to carry out these other the works. And we had to go from one village, Tolaji village. Then from there we went to SP Coil, location 1, and we started the works. And then official changed, and the next official said, no, this is not what. This is not where we wanted, we go somewhere else. These things, of course, the funding agency, which is sinking in a lot of money from their kitty, they're not very happy that things are getting delayed. But then we felt that they're finding it hard to appreciate the difficulties that we are facing on the ground. And in these things, the only thing that works, I would say, for anyone who gets into the villages to work is the patience, And that's the strength we had. And then finally, we actually could see that in the field that we succeeded, although delayed. And then other challenges in this village, Vilangadu Pakkam, we thought that we would not take the responsibility of talking to the the government officials and others. We would give only the technical advice, and then the funding agency agreed, and AM Foundation, they partners in implementation too. We were only technical advisors, and then we did all that. And we also, they got the permissions from the the government officials to start the work. They gave the land, and then when we started, there were legal hurdles. Some neighboring person actually went and then filed a case in the court saying that that land belonged to him. And again, there was a problem here. So these are the kind of things that we face when we go into the villages. And another thing is development in surrounding areas. In the village which Liji was talking about, where we cleaned the lake and then we used it for rainwater harvesting, And then after a couple of years, you can see at the far end of this lake, there's actually an outlet, and that outlet takes the excess water during heavy rains to a river. And there was actually a development, a container yard. It's very close to the port, and there's a container yard came, and then the container yard completely blocked this outlet. And then we started having frequent flooding because this lake started filling up. There is no outlet. And so there were representations by villagers and intervention by local government and then all those things, but it did not yield much. Meanwhile, what we thought is we'll find a technical solution. We started designing our facilities to have two-tier facilities, two-tier levels. And so we can operate these facilities even during the floods. But then that problem of solid waste management we have come over. But then the flooding itself in the villages, because the blocking of the outlet, that is still pending. And then next thing is what will happen when we exit. We have been in these villages for 5 years, and then after we leave, and then we have created so much of asset there, what will happen to this? Whether they will be able to take care of it or not, whether they have the funds or not. And as Professor Liji was mentioning, when we did the economics of it, yes, we could support only 1/3 of the activities, operation and maintenance of the solid waste management. And then so by selling inorganic waste and then the compost and things like that, when we, and as you mentioned, we estimated that there's 100 rupees per month we can collect from the villages. There is a general willingness to pay, but there is local officials are still hesitant. It's been taking more than a year for us to tell them, look, they're willing to pay, why don't you start collecting? They have their own little problems. That's what we say. There's a willingness to pay, but there's no willingness to collect. So, and they said, okay, you can take the money and then you can collect it and you can operate it. Obviously, IIT cannot do that forever. I mean, we can't do that. So negotiations are still going on. So the lessons learned is, next time when we wanted to get into Nagapattinam, we said, we can't pull it off on our own. We have to, work with others. Center for Urbanization, Building and Environment, CUBE. It's a society formed by IIT Madras to execute these works. And then United Way, it's an NGO who can get into the villages and then do, awareness campaigns and then things like that. And then CSIE, again, another organization of IIT Madras who does the skill, development in the villages. That's what we did. And one thing that we realized over 5 years of working is, which really helps, is you be there for the villagers during their hard times. And that's how you win their hearts. We did this during the COVID. We went and then provided them the masks, and then we helped them to learn about how to prevent the spread of the COVID. And then 2015 floods also, we had done quite a bit of work in these villages. And that really helped us to establish the rapport. That's very important. And what are the rewards? We achieve the goal. We make the village clean. That's a reward for us. And it's not just that, like, although Professor Liji was saying it's not rocket science, it's not that. There are actually 3 PhDs that she has guided, which are related to this work. One in, 2 in, conserved wetland, and 1 in composting. And then we had a lot of interns, MTech students and BTech students who have gone there and helped us as interns. And of course, we get the goodwill of people. And it's also part of our university social, academic social, just like corporate social responsibility, I'd say academic social responsibility. That's the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan program. This is part of the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. And finally, the smiling faces, they're really a good reward. With this, I'll just give our team, Professor Liji. She has led the team from the front, and I was there. And Mr. Vivekanandan Kumaraswamy, who is a retired chief engineer from TWAD board, who is our project manager, really helped us a lot. And then Yoganathan, Kaviyarsan, Varun, Dawood, Kumaran, Masanam, and many, many more who are project associates who have helped us. The PhD students, Anu Rachel, Ram Prasad, and Mandiram Kartik, and then our field workers, Pungodi, Rekha, Loganayagi, Muthukumari, Kritika. All of these people we thank for their help. And we also thank all our funding agencies for providing the funds from their corporate social responsibility kitties. And thank you very much. With this, I hand over back to Rosalie ji.
Can we have some questions, please, now?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are lots of questions, almost 18 questions.
Can
There's
I
also
stop the slide share? Or should I continue with the slide?
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, please, you
that's
can
fine.
please stop, Professor.
Okay.
No,
So,
actually, if you stop it,
So actually, there are lots of questions on technology support, scalability, cost affordability,
Yes.
and sustainability
Okay.
in rural areas, and whether this can be done in other states.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. See, okay, initially we also thought that the scalability is a problem. Yes, okay, because with our academic load and other things, okay, we were not able to take many villages at a time. That's why we have a group with Cube and other agencies. So now we know that, okay, we have to give the technology and the advice, and the implementation is done by them. Okay, that way the scalability is unlimited. Okay, because now we are getting many requests from other states like UP and other things. Okay, and I talked to our team members. They told that anywhere in India we are ready to take this type of a project. So scalability is not a problem, and the CSR funding also is not a problem. Many of the companies are willing to do this type of a thing because the villages are getting improved significantly, and they are able to sustain that one. So that is the good thing about this one.
So the other questions are about river pollution and biomedical waste management
Okay.
during COVID-19.
Should I open the question and read and answer, okay, or you will read the questions?
I'm reading to you, Professor.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. So
how do we address river pollution?
yeah, see, okay, once you take care of the solid waste and liquid waste of the villages, because okay, if you see a river, the catchment area is made up of some towns and majority is villages. So these villages, many times we are not taking care of the waste management. So what will happen when a rain comes, all this solid and liquid waste otherwise also will be flowing to the river. It will be coming to the trains, and the train leads to a bigger train, and that one will be coming to us nala to the river. So rivers are getting polluted, and solid waste we think that it is dumped somewhere, so how is it going to pollute the river? But when the rain comes, for example 2015 Chennai flood, we all know, that type of a heavy rain comes, all this solid waste will be getting or washed along with the rainwater, so it will be going into the streams and finally river and sea. So entire thing is getting contaminated. So if you want to make our rivers clean, if we want to make our lakes or ponds clean, the first thing we have to start is from village. Village manage the waste properly. So that is the sustainable way to maintain our rivers and water bodies clean and neat. Yeah.
So the next question is biomedical waste management during COVID-19, reuse and recycling efforts in village areas.
See, COVID-19, because if you see the household waste, mostly it will be the mask, and those type of things. So that's why I told that any of these villages, when we have the solid waste management system, we also should have some facility for the sanitary waste and the biomedical waste management, because many houses are having old people or infants. So they will be having the diapers and other sanitary napkins and other things. So we cannot mix it with either inorganic waste or organic waste. The quality will be getting affected, and not only that one, the hygiene of the workers will also be getting affected. So we made it very clear to the people that all these waste has to be separately segregated, and they used to collect it in specific containers or bags, and we have a small incineration system. So daily the total quantity coming is very, very little. So we are using the incinerator to manage that one. So COVID case also, the mask or anything, the reusable or one use and throw type of mask, we will be able to handle using the same incinerator. So depending upon the population, you have to identify appropriate incineration capacity. So that's all we have to do. Now that's not at least our experience for last 5 years in the villages.
And one more thing I would like to add is through the COVID period, we have been monitoring these villages, and then through our workers, and then there's not many cases at all actually in these villages.
So the next question is, since this is also connected to the biomedical waste, how environmentally sustainable are the incineration facilities in the villages?
Okay, see, people will talk about the toxic gas generation and all. Yes, I am an environmental engineer. I know that the chances of toxic gas generation is there. Okay, two things we have to be very careful in. Okay, when we go for an incinerator, they'll give some operating conditions. Okay, you have to start the burning at a particular temperature. If the temperature is low, the burning will not be complete. So that one thing you have to be extremely careful. And another thing is, these villages, when we talk about the quantity of the biomedical waste or the this sanitary waste coming is very, very negligible. So just like a diesel generator or something like that. So we all have that exhaust pipe, so it gets dispersed. Okay, I'm not telling that that is the best way, but the pollution is not that severe. So that is what we are doing in all these villages. What are the villages we have in the wing?
So there is one technical question. Any specific reason for using vertical flow?
There was no, see, we have, because we have a lot of pilot scale constructed wetlands in IIT campus. We have tried vertical, horizontal, hybrid, etc. So we could see that hybrid was working better than vertical or horizontal. Compared to horizontal, vertical was working better. But hybrid means, again, the cost of construction is high, and in between, there may be the chances of clogging or something. So we have gone for vertical. Okay, so that is based upon our experience, and our research.
So actually, there's a question about composting also.
Yeah.
So there are two questions. One is duration of composting, and then how is composting possible in hill stations like Ooty?
Okay, see, in our case, the composting, we could get proper compost. Once we put it in the windrow system, we could get proper compost in 20 days. Okay, usually people tell that 40-45 days. So what we used to do is, we bring the waste, keep it for 1 or 2 days for little drying, so that not much leachate will be coming. Then we shred it and we mix it with a little bit of powder and dry leaves, so that enough air ratio, void ratio is there, enough air, moisture content, everything is there. Because I told you I had PhD students working on composting, household composting. So we know all the scientific things involved in that one. So we just transferred that one. So we could reduce the time from 40 to 20 days. So if you have a proper mix, with the proper air void ratio, proper density, everything, so the composting will be very effective, and we could maintain the high temperature 57 to 60 for 3 to 5 days. So that is a must to get a good compost. And our workers were able to learn that one and do that one properly. And we were also checking the moisture. So within 20 days, we were getting good quality compost, and we were doing all the analysis in our lab to see that whether the quality is meeting the international standards. So we could see that the compost is meeting all the standards, and we were displaying our results there in the compost area.
I just would like to add that, like, most of these things about the composting, that's in the open literature in the recent international journal publications by Liji and Anu Rachel and the team.
Many
It's available how to do it.
Many newspaper articles.
So any ideas about composting in places like Ooty or Kodaikanal?
Yeah, it is possible. Only thing is, Ooty, there is no problem because the temperature will not be coming down that drastically, only 1 month. That time, because we have tried that one. You may have to have some type of a cover, either jute bags or anything. If you can just put it and cover it, so whatever the temperature generated will not be getting away. So you'll be getting very good compost. Don't keep it exposed. During that winter time, so you'll be getting good compost. There won't be any problem, because
so,
we have an universal composting system. Because wherever the temperature is coming down, we are putting everything in a vessel, so that whatever the heat generated by the microorganism, it will not be getting dissipated. So you'll be getting good quality compost. If anybody wanted details, we can provide later, no problem.
So there are questions about management of plastic and polythene waste.
Yeah, see, I told you the household level, we were able to get almost 100% segregation. So once the plastic and this one comes, we segregate into 18 different categories. Our workers are trained to, because different categories are having different prices. So they are segregating it into different categories, and every month, so we are not managing by ourselves. We are selling it to the resellers. Okay, so they are taking it and managing, because village level plastic management facility and all is not sustainable, because the quantity coming is very, very little. So as such, we'll not be able to sustain that one. So you segregate it and sell to the people who is able to manage it in a large quantity. So that's what we adopted in all the villages.
So how was the industry support through CSR activities?
See, okay, this was okay, because initially we thought that we had to do something. So we ourselves made a proposal. Okay, 2 or 3 proposals we made. One is healthy villages, because definitely our mind was there. So we went to our IAR office at that time, International and Alumni Affairs Office. Then they have published this the proposals to many industries. First one was Indian Additives Limited. They came and they have looked into many of the proposals, and we made a presentation also. That then they told that you start this one. We had many discussions and all. Then we started that one, and that one came out very well. The phase 1 was very successful, and their board of directors, everybody visited the village, and they could see that how happy the people were. They were talking all good about that. Then they have given the second phase. So once Vichur was a success, CPCL, everybody came to know that one, and many of them came and approached us. We didn't have to go and search for that one. So that is what happened. Yeah.
But there is this thing. In one of the places, actually, we were called to go in and make a presentation. And the person who was hearing, the chief of the company, he said, "Why are you guys, IIT guys, are coming and then doing this kind of a work? You are supposed to be doing, high funder research and then publications and then PhDs and all those things." We find that kind of situations also, but then we could convince them what kind of an value addition comes in if institutions and people who know about the subject get involved in this kind of work.
So what are the challenges in terms of waste management in urban areas versus rural areas? That's one of the
Urban areas, the segregation is the biggest problem, because we ourselves know that people usually won't adhere to the segregation. So once it is segregated, the management technologies are not a problem. It is the social aspects. That is a matter, because technologies are existing in India, abroad, everywhere. Technology is not the problem. How are we going to segregate it and manage? Everybody tells that composting is very easy, but we have gone around and taken the samples from many compost yards, and we could see that most of them are not meeting the standards, the actual compost whatever is generated. So though it is a very, very easy thing, science is involved, so we should understand the process and do properly, then you will be getting good quality thing. Once quality is good, there are many takers, and it will work very well. But if the quality is not good, your compost will be just lying there. That will be a pain for you. And similarly, other things also. Because if you try to adopt some technology somewhere else blindly, it is not going to work. We have to understand what is our waste, what is the composition, what is the problems, how it is different from other places. Once it is known, management is not a problem. Technology is not a problem. Yeah.
So was there any provision for treating wastewater generated from the village to drinking quality standards?
See, we didn't go up to that level, because we thought that, see, these villages, wherever we were working, they didn't have that type of a water scarcity, And I told you in Nagapattinam, we could identify an aquifer which is having good yield, very good yield. That was much more than sufficient for the villages, And in Vichur also, we didn't have any problem for the drinking water. Another thing is, drinking water, we have to be extremely careful, because we are putting up something and we are coming out of the village. Somebody has to constantly monitor the quality of the thing, because we are drinking that water. If anything goes wrong, it is affecting the health of the people. So we thought that instead of going for that one, the villages, they need water much large quantity of water for agriculture purpose. And this water is having nutrients. So remove the problematic things and give to them for agriculture purpose, so that their agriculture will be much better, because more than 80% of the water, 80 or 85% of the water in the villages are used for agriculture purpose. So we thought that that is a much better sustainable option than going for drinking purpose. Whereas in urban area, yes, Chennai type of a city, water scarcity is there. there we have to look for drinking purpose, not in villages.
Liji, probably you would like to say something about IIT Madras initiative and then how it is adapted by CMWSSB regarding this
I
drinking.
don't want to add at this moment, okay, because we are talking about villages. So
No, because the persons asked, about.
yeah, see, we are in IIT Madras, we are recycling our water 100%, okay, for non-potable and indirect potable purpose. And by seeing the success story of IIT Madras, now Chennai city is adopting same process. Okay, they are cleaning up all the lakes and they are storing the tertiary treated water in the lakes. And after that one, taking the water from the lake and they are treating it and supplying to the people. Okay, 2 plants are already constructed and they are going to construct another 160 MLD plant.
Fantastic. So there is a question about why duckweed pond is not used for treating sewage from the community.
See, duckweed pond, okay, one is space availability. We think that village will be having lot of space, even to get 2 square, okay, 2 plot, okay. Now that means 2 into 2,400 square feet area in the village. It was a Herculean task for us. Okay, duckweed and all, we need much more place. And as Murthy told, this area is a flood prone area because of many other reasons. So if you go there, okay, the rainy season, everything will be overflowing and going. So we thought that it is better to have something, okay, which we can contain and have. That's why we didn't go for. Okay, if you have space availability and all, duckweed pond is a good option. So that's why I'm trying to tell. This happening, these villages doesn't mean that I will not tell that this is the universal technology. Go find out the village, find out the existing conditions and adopt, okay, technology as an, okay, according to the location. Okay, no single technology is universally applicable. So we have to identify the technology according to the place, location, needs, okay, and all. Yeah.
So the question about, once again, hazardous waste management in village areas, and
Yeah.
also how to find buyers of waste in villages.
Okay, see, hazardous waste, okay, we didn't do, okay, we told them that, okay, because 3 segregation were there, okay, organic, inorganic, and biomedical. So, and we told that if they have any battery or any other hazardous waste, segregate separately and give us in a container. So, what we used to do is, okay, we bring everything together and inform the panchayat, because panchayat waste is going to the, okay, landfill site, okay, with the different categories. So we were handing over to the panchayat. They were sending along with the other hazardous waste of the panchayat. We were not managing the hazardous waste as such, because everything together has to be collected and sent into the management facility.
So
But
how do
we
you
were segregating.
So the next question is, how do you manage the project once the duration is
See, that we don't have any problem for the skill, okay, because we have taken the people in each case. The villagers were taken as the managers of the thing, because we have a manager for the composting. She is so expert now doing the composting. She knows each and everything of that one, and collection and everything they know, and even the tricycle repair, everything they are able to do. Okay, so skill is not a problem. Okay, and I told you we get, and the electricity, all those things we have done, and we showed them what all are the things they have to check, because we are there with them, okay, in most of the villages 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So skill development we are taking care, awareness we are taking care. Only thing is the capital thing. Capital thing, I told you we'll be able to get around 1/3 money from the selling of the compost and the inorganic material. Another thing, that's why we have done the survey, and all the people, more than 90% of the people told that we are ready to pay the money. We are asking only 100 rupees because we want the workers to be happy. So we are paying them more than whatever is the government salary. So those people are working 7 days a week, all throughout without any problem. So for their salary, that is the maximum expenditure we have to see. So that one, okay, with this one alone we will not be getting. So we have to collect the money from that one. So everybody is agreeing. BDO is agreeing. Collector is agreeing. So the panchayat president, whoever is elected recently, he has some inhibition. I got elected only now. If I ask the money, what will be my vote? Okay, what bank, this one. Okay, so those are the issues. Okay, but it will be starting soon. That's what they told. Okay, and people, all of them are ready. They told that if IIT start collecting, we are ready to give immediately. So we told that we don't want to take, because we will be getting out of the villages. So they have to manage by themselves. So the skill development and empowering the people are very, very important. Money, people are, if you provide a good service and they see that there is an advantage for them, people will be ready to pay. So that is what our experience. Yeah.
In fact,
So
I
the
would
question
add
is,
that, like,
sorry.
so no, I would add that, like, whatever the money we have collected right now in the last 2 years, 2018 to this, we are just waiting for them to start a cooperative or whatever committee within the village level to manage that. Because if it goes into, again, the government kitty of the villages, then it gets spent on something else and not on this particular operation and maintenance. So we are trying to encourage them to start a cooperative on their own and then manage this on their own. And for that, they collect money from their own selves, I mean, within themselves, and then do it. That's what we are trying to do. And we'll succeed, I'm sure, but it will take a little time.
So the last couple of questions. So one of the questions is a follow-up to what Professor Liji and Professor Murthy answered just now. Why is there a need for an external intervention rather than a kind of self-governance, a Gandhian model by the villages themselves?
See,
and, that is one of the.
I can tell you one is, okay, some spark should be there, and many times they are not having the awareness. Okay, awareness generation is very, very important, because I can tell you another story, because we have done in Krishnagiri and Dharmapuri. Okay, it was water quality. It was a UNICEF sponsored project. So when we went there, almost more than 80% of the water sources were having fecal contamination. So people were not aware of water quality and what are the significances of it and how it is related to health and all. So then we conducted this type of awareness programs and all, then taught them very simple method to find out how the water quality is good or what, especially the bacteriological quality. Then okay, we did the training for the volunteers, and volunteers were going and checking all the drinking water samples from these villages. And we were cross-checking around 10% of the samples to make sure that their testing is good and all. And within 1 year, we could see that this 80% contamination has come down to less than 5%. Okay, it didn't come down to 0, less than 5%, without any infrastructural improvement or anything. It was just awareness. People were aware, then people were aware of the duties of others, and they were started going and asking, why are you not cleaning the tank? Why are you not repairing the broken pipelines? Why are you not disinfecting? So that awareness is very, very important. Once you generate enough awareness and show how to go around, then people are ready to do it. Okay, but that start is needed somewhere.
So the question is actually more from the governance side rather than from the technical side, because I think, as you rightly pointed out, the awareness, skilling, and also technology diffusion, many of these things, people will definitely understand the benefits of technology intervention, especially from IIT Madras and many of these institutions. But the question is there any intent on the part of the government officials to replicate and take this forward?
Now government, I told you, isn't it, Jal Shakti mission, after they have that ODF plus is coming. ODF plus is, they are concentrating on solid and liquid waste management in the villages. So the government is pushing it, okay, very hard, okay, at all the villages and all the things. So they wanted all the panchayats. So they will be starting with the training programs and all the things. So governance, okay, a lot of things are going to happen, just like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, the next one of government is taking care of solid and liquid waste. Okay, it is going to happen. Yeah.
No, the question is the governance within the village level. It's not like we going and then we help them in the technical matters, and then the government also will provide the whatever the infrastructure or the funds. But management within the thing by the villages, that's what in fact this particular project we have been trying to do all through. We felt that like the first step to achieve that is they become aware. The next step to achieve that is they develop the skills to do it on their own, so that all the workforce will come from the locally. Then the next step, of course, is to say that we want this. They need to feel that they need this particular facility, because before we went in, They were not even asking these questions to their panchayat officials. But now I can tell you in the second phase, when because of the paucity of funds, we were doing only certain amount of work. Now the villagers are asking their panchayat president, why that particular village got all these things and then why we are not getting these things. So once that need is there, once they realize what they want, then definitely slowly they will realize that like it is better for them to manage on their own rather than depending on the external people. So it will take a little bit of time before the villagers get to that gyan.
So thank you very much, Professor Liji and Professor Murthy. On that note, Gandhian note of Swaraj, self-management of and governance of villages by the panchayats. Thank you very much for this excellent presentation. I now hand over the mic to Professor Karthik Raman, who is the advisor of global engagement, to say a formal vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very
Everyone
much.
all of you, please fill the feedback form. We have a feedback form. It will be open for another 10 more seconds. Please fill it.
Okay, so I'm really thankful to Professor Liji Philip and Professor B.S. Murthy for this wonderful webinar. I think we've sort of gone from strength to strength over the last 4 days with increasing participation and interaction, lots of questions all through the 4 days. I think it's been very heartening, even though it's been like a long weekend and so on. It's really nice that people who are passionate about the topic have come and lectured, and B, the participants have given great feedback and interaction with the panelists. So thank you so much for taking your time out and enlightening the participants. I think the participants really enjoyed it, as we can see from the feedback. So in Siddhi, of course, I'm sure there are many more questions the participants have, and many of the questions we may not have had the time to fully answer even. The idea is to make sure that these questions are posted on the Siddhi website, and I request the panelists to make time to answer them at some point of time. We'll be circulating the questions. I think we've been doing it over the last few webinars as well, and it's great to see the energy from the speakers and the participants. And we want to really take Siddhi forward on this basis. So many of these are already strongly running projects and so on. But I think it is really ripe time to sort of seed new projects and internships, motivate the younger people to commit their time to work on these very socially relevant projects and so on. So I think talks like this will surely inspire them into that. So I thank you all once again. And we have a very interesting webinar coming up after a couple of weeks. So we had like back-to-back 4 webinars now, and now we have a break of about 2 weeks. And on October 16th, we have another webinar that is rooted in a Spark International Collaboration project. So the topic is on building integrated cooling systems for the hot and humid climate that we are all very conversant with. And it's by Dr. Bruno Lee and by Nima Boniadi. From both of them are from the University of Montreal. From Montreal, from Concordia University. So I hope we'll have many of you back for that webinar, and I wish you all a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liji. Thank you, Murthy.
Excellent. Thank you.
It
Like,
was
I think
very
this
nice.
is, most questions were answered in this particular